Hello and happy Friday to everybody out there. We're really excited for our Friday Love, Learn, and Leadership show. Here we are in week 4 of getting an opportunity to talk with building level leaders from across our state. And so I'm really excited today to have Casey Slama of Gordon Elementary in Gordon-Rushville Public Schools joining us as our building level leader today, along with Julie Downing, who wears a lot of different hats at ESU 13 and is also part of the NDE SEED Team, and a good colleague and friend who's been on the Love and Learn before as well. And so she works in the same region as Casey's school. And so grateful to have her join us for today's dialogue also. And so I'm going to actually kind of mix this up. Julie, will you do me a favor and introduce Casey for us?
Yeah, so Casey Slama. Casey and I have been colleagues for, I want to say, approaching 15, 20 years now, Casey. He came up as a teacher in Gordon when I was a teacher in Rushville. And then Gordon and Rushville consolidated. And he, of course, moved into the leadership position he's in now at Gordon Elementary. He was actually, I think, maybe my principal supervisor as I was the curriculum and assessment coordinator there. And then, of course, I went on to ESU. But he has continued his good work at Gordon Elementary. And I get to work in his building occasionally and with his district, on assessment and NWA. And I've gotten to coach a few of his teachers in his building. So he and I get to work together pretty regularly. And he just does a really nice job out here. Gordon-Rushville, in case you don't know, and he may share a little bit, but it's one of our biggest districts real estate-wise. But smallest in the state regarding students. So,
well, tell me a little more about that then, Casey. That's interesting to think about.
Yeah, so Julie alluded to the size of our district. The land mass of it itself, I think, is 2,600 square miles, if I believe, somewhere around there. It's about roughly the size of Rhode Island, Vermont, kind of around that area. So it's a large district for sure. So, I mean, it starts at the South Dakota border near where White Clay's at around there, and it goes all the way straight south to Lakeside and Ellsworth around that area. So, and that in itself is probably, I'm guessing 70 miles. So it's a pretty long stretch. And so when I first started as a principal, I was I was a rural school principal too, as well as at Rushville Elementary when I was working with Julie. So there'd be days I'd be traveling, over to Merriman, which is 45 miles away from Rushville, 30 from Gordon. I'd be going to another school that was south in Lakeside, which was, 50 some miles, and White Clay was about 30 miles north where Extension was. So I got to see the district quite a bit and a lot of windshield time and did a lot of learning of the difference between what a rural school one room is like as opposed to what, a traditional regular type public school is where you're sectioned in individual grades and self-contained. So I've got quite the experience with that. And then I was at middle school for a while and now I'm back here at Gordon Elementary where I started my teaching experience. So it's quite the circle that it's came for sure.
Well, what a great opportunity, to get a sense of the entire district as a result of switching into those different roles, and then to maybe bring a lot of that back into your current role at Gordon. So that's really great, like you said, to see that come full circle. And we, as you saw, have some friends that are joining us online, and so really grateful as people are tuning in here live. I would encourage you to continue to share out and share your love and your learn as we take an opportunity to do that ourselves here on the show. And so we're just going to dive right into that, actually. And Casey, we'll start with you. Our love, and each week we share the things, whether it's personally or professionally, that we love from over the course of the past week. And so what's something that really stood out to you as a love for you?
We have partnered as a district with UNL doing a project called Words. And so we actually had a professional development day on Monday with Dr. Hebert and his crew who came out, and we structured it, the training where we're also doing strategic planning. So we had part of the time we were doing strategic planning where our teachers were identifying essential learnings, different items like that. And then along with, they were skipping to go over with Dr. Hebert to learn more about the science of reading, instruction, assessments, doing lots of ideas on tutoring and things like that. So really, I loved this week for the fact that our teachers were able to get together, because finding time is difficult, and finding time to do the essential work that's needed to move students in a positive direction in their academics is sometimes hard to find within a school year. So I really love the fact that we got together to have those critical conversations about how we want students to learn, what we want them to learn, and then also how they're going to show us that they have learned it. So that was really my love for this week was certainly that, because that helps us move forward in education. And coming out of the pandemic, and kids not coming to school for the last quarter, there's lots of questions that we have with how we're going to do it, because we're seeing lots of different levels of learning and what kids know. And so it's really a chance for us to get together to really have those, like I said, critical discussions that we have to have. So that's what I've loved this week.
Gosh, and that's a theme that really, as we've done this show, I've heard from several administrators, is how much they've loved when they can get together as a staff to learn together and grow together on behalf of kids. And that's got to really fill your bucket. And a great way to, you said that was on Monday, right? To kind of start the week off.
Yep. Yeah, there's just so many opportunities where we could work in silos, and then we never accomplish anything that needs to be accomplished together as a group. So always having that time to do that together is an important thing.
Absolutely. And I love the love in that. So I'll pivot to Julie now and ask Julie, how was your week? What's something that you loved over the course of the last 7 days or so?
Well, I love, and I know you, Andrew, love to laugh. And maybe that's I don't know, maybe this show could have a twist at some point that's the laugh, learn, and lead. I don't know. So I'm gonna talk about a good giggle I had this week, because certainly it is important to have a sense of humor in our lives. So any of you that follow Andrew know that he's working on this project called PD for Me, and he is I love this project. So, and he'll probably talk about it here in a second, but he called me earlier this week because he was having sort of a distribution problem with, he calls it pop. I'm from this part of the world that calls it soda. But working on getting some of these fun things out to teachers in this PD for Me project. And so we chatted and we problem solved a little bit about the pop problem. And so later in the week, I was following up with Andrew to see if he got that solved. And so it was pretty early in the morning, and I wasn't quite all the way through my first cup of coffee, and I was trying to text him, how is the pop distribution problem going? And my Google, of course, wanted to put 2 O's in that word, which would have put you in charge of poop distribution. And I rerouted and tried to correct it. Like the first time, it tried to put an emoji in there, so you can imagine what that would have looked like. The second time, it had some other suggestions for me. So I finally got it corrected for you. So you're welcome, Andrew. Google did not put us in charge of poop distribution for the state. And I know you got that other pop problem solved. So that's a good laugh for you. I love it that I get to work with people in education and ESUs that appreciate a good belly laugh. So that one's for free today. You're welcome.
Oh, I'm in charge of a lot of stuff, but poop distribution is not one of them.
And what does it say about me that that's the word that Google thinks I want?
Oh my gosh. You may just change my love to this moment. This is kind of a funny backstory to something I found out earlier in the week. Oh, that's great. That is great. Well, I will follow up with that and say that I did have a good laugh and a smile and just some really good vibes actually from this past Saturday. My kiddos attend Westside Community Schools, and each year they have kind of community fundraiser event that they host down at I think it's called the CHI Center now. They changed the name with that a number of times, and was fortunate enough to get to go and went there, and it was Beatles / like kind of hippie themed. And so it was kind of there, rocking it in costume. And it was really fun to see some former colleagues, administrators that I had had a chance to work with previously. And then also to be there primarily as a parent for the first time, because I had attended that event in the past, but I'd worked in the district. And so it was just I love being around educators and administrators, and then also seeing that community aspect and being able to be there as a parent, which was just super fun. And this is worth sharing because I got really excited. I won the raffle from Nebraska Furniture Mart and got a $500 gift card to Nebraska Furniture Mart. So we're going to have some upgrades at the Easton household coming up here soon. But that was my love from this week, was just being able to be around those people and kind of when we're all mutually invested in kids and really just trying to raise some money for our schools. So that was a lot of fun. All right. So to move on then to our learn from this past week, a lot going on. And sometimes this ends up being one of the same, the love and the learn, and sometimes it's a relearn and sometimes an unlearning. And so, Casey, for you, what's something that you learned this week?
Working with staff, obviously in the training we had, I think I learned that it's always better when we're together, and rather than when we're apart. The saying is always goes, when we're in a group in a room together, the smartest people in the room is the room. So a lot of that knowledge that everyone has becomes important for us moving on. So, and if you're fans of Ted Lasso, which I am, and so watch Lil Ted. I got some Believe posters. I got them up in the school, and then I have a sign behind me that says, "I believe and I believe. I believe and believe" is what it is. So, and I truly believe in that. And one of the things I learned, and that I wish I would have known earlier, is one of his sayings is, "Be a goldfish." Why do you want to be a goldfish? Because they have 10-second memories. So be a goldfish. So sometimes you gotta remember to let go of some negative things that are happening, so that you can move forward with the essential work and things that need to get done. And so I think it's oftentimes that we learn that we want to harp on the things that aren't good, but then there's so many more things that are good out there, and you got to believe that they're still there. So be a goldfish.
Gosh, there's a great leadership piece just right there. Well, I really love that idea. And that's so, in working on the PD for Me stuff this week, I had Kristen Selecta of ESU 9 actually reached out. We've been in collaboration quite a bit. And she shared a very similar message with me. It's like, stop focusing in on all the things that you want to get done now and tomorrow. And like, yes, you need to put effort and energy towards those things. But instead of like looking at that needs to get done list, like take a little, be grateful for the things that you have gotten a chance to accomplish, and believe in the fact that that future work will get done, and view it through kind of a positive lens. And so, I'm with you on that, Casey. That's great.
Yep. You got to. I mean, I think it's so important now just because of what we're coming out of and different things like that, the work can't be done like that. And we're kind of in the society age of, well, click and here it is. It's done. I'm instant gratified. Well, that certainly does not happen in our world of education. It takes time, persistence, patience, and sometimes you got to be a goldfish.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. I love being a part of these conversations. This is so fun on a Friday to just connect around really great ideas. I'm going to be thinking about that goldfish piece moving forward too. So, Julie, what's something that you learned over the course of this week?
Well, I got to be with a group that we call PLACES out of our ESU. So PLACES stands for Panhandle Leaders in Assessment, Curriculum, Educational Support. So when I was a long time ago working with Casey as a young teacher and kind of moving into that assessment and curriculum leadership role, this was a group where I found my people. And I think that's important in education, but especially so out here in the rural part of our state, because so many of our principals and so many of our people who are doing the assessment work and the curriculum work, they're kind of singletons in their own building. And I mean, you heard Casey talk about the distances between the buildings just in his district. So there aren't other people necessarily that close. And I remember when I first attended this meeting as a very green, young, didn't know what I didn't know, curriculum and assessment person, I walked in and thought, oh, I have found my tribe. These people speak my language and they understand what I do. Well, over the years, I've gotten to be part of that group, and now I get to lead that group. I co-chair that group with Amy Trowernick from ESU 13. And anybody from ESUs knows Amy. She's just excellent in assessment, accountability, anything that has to do with an A. She knows a lot about it. But we got to have that group live this last week. We got to see them in person, which was, we haven't been able to do that for a while. So it was really good to be with them and to get to learn with them and to just kind of tap into those colleagues and friends. And, even 27 years in the business, there's still a group that feels like home, and I can go there and always learn with them. So I was grateful to see my places people. I know Casey's been part of that group at different times in his career. So just finding your tribe. That's what I learned. I need my people, and I need to keep learning.
I'd piggyback on that, Julie, with our Region 5 principals that we have. We have a Google email account or whatever where they're all in there, and typically we'll put a message out if we're having trouble or if we need an answer to something, and we usually have at least 2 or 3, 4, 5 people that are answering. And so when Julie talks tribe, we certainly have that within our Region 5 because it is such a large region, and it's hard for us to get together because it's so vast. But the ability to have that email is pretty important, to bounce ideas off of and to know that, hey, these people have our back too and can help us in any way, shape, or form. So.
Wow. Okay. I want to weave like 3 things in from everything that you all have been talking about here, because there's just so much like connections with it all. And I do want to say, well, first of all, Jen McNally, hey, what's up, friend? Loving some Ted Lasso as well. And talk about people being part of your tribe. Jen's awesome. Really appreciate her so much. And this was playing off of Casey's comment from earlier about being happy in the moment, and that's enough. Each moment is all we need, not more. I love that quote too. And to give a quick shout out, and I sort of was tinkering with this on the fly here. So you brought up Amy, Julie, and I actually am working on her social PD story that we share out, and it's going to go out today. So I brought up the graphic. She's doing one on continuous improvement, and so there's what the first page looks like. And so you'll be able, really the rest of today and then tomorrow through any of our social platforms, check out her story on continuous improvement. So
she's smart. She knows stuff.
Good people to have in your tribe. Smart people that know stuff. And so that's there. And then as we were talking about PD for me, that is really, I'm gonna weave that in as my I learned the process of trying to put together the envelopes and the whole system for our PD for me initiative, which I will throw the graphic up there for. I feel like I'm getting a little infomercially here with all of these different things that I'm promoting, but there's a lot of good work going on, and it plays off of what Casey and you, Julie, just mentioned, in that a big reason for that PD for me support is to say, what could we do to start to help educators connect with one another when they are separated by large distances? And I mean, we're all Nebraska educators, right? With that PD for me initiative, there is, as people pick different topics each month to learn about, 3 kind of lunchtime opportunities that you could jump online and Zoom about that topic informally. There's not a structured, slide deck that we're going through about the topic that you picked. And so I'm really excited to hopefully help people find their tribe and have those connections, maybe in a virtual sense, when it isn't easy to find time. Casey nailed it, right? It's so hard to make time for that. But happy to say PD for me is going to go out via email and mail to over 800 people, which is super cool. And I learned a lot about what it means to kind of do that kind of work this week. I'm a little tired. It might be part of it. But that was my learn. So excited for that. All right. So that said, let's go to my favorite segment. I love all of them, but the leadership piece. And this is where we get a chance to hear from both of you about anything from kind of 30,000 foot theory to just maybe some practical things that you think about on a regular basis when it comes to being a leader for your staff, students, and learning in your respective roles. So, Casey, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is just making sure you're visible to your people. It can become kind of burdensome with just kind of the administrative tasks that kind of come day to day. But then there's the time that you have to be visible not only to your students but to the teachers, and making sure that you're letting them know that you're supporting them, and if they have any needs, that you're helping them out. And being a good listener is probably one of the greatest things you can do for them, is just to sit and listen. It's been a while since I've been in the classroom. I'll sub once in a while, and every time I sub, I have a greater appreciation for the work that those people do, because it's kind of nonstop, and you got to have a lot of stamina. And holy moly, when you're not in there, whew, and I go home and I'm wiped. I'm like, holy cow, there's so many thoughts and decisions and things that need to be done, and taking care of the kids and all that too. It's quite the amazing job. You never know what each day is going to bring. You have your lesson plan, but got to be a goldfish sometimes, and you gotta just move on and then keep going. So it's just something you have to do. Just listening to them. You just got to listen. It was funny when one of the kids came in one day, because I'm outside our gate every morning, and I'm sure there's hundreds of other principals that do that, and you're greeting the kids in every day. And so you can really take a temperature gauge of, what's going to happen with a few kids and different things like that. And then you're also starting them on a positive note by greeting them, telling them hello, and just interacting with them that way. But we had a kindergarten kid come in. It's hilarious. He's coming in, he's kind of hunched over, and he's coming in. He goes, "I'm coming in like a wrecking ball." and I just nearly fell on the ground laughing, because I've never heard a kid say that before. And he was just ready to get the day going, and not like he was going to wreck it and mess things up. He's like, "I can't wait to be in school." So that felt so good, knowing that, I think we're providing a safe place for kids. We're providing them an opportunity to learn, and that they want to be here. So part of that leadership is making sure that you are creating that environment. You're the dipstick, the temperature gauge for your school, to make sure that things are going well. If you're having a bad day, that usually affects everyone else. So you've got to be very mindful of how you're interacting with your staff and with your students, to make sure that your school is safe and fun. And so I like having fun. Everyone else has fun. So let's do it. Let's just have fun.
Oh, absolutely. And what you're talking about there takes a lot of intentionality too, and mindfulness, and not in the sense of being present at all times. And it's got to be challenging, right? I'm sure as a principal, you have phone calls and situations where fires have got to be, figurative fires have got to be put out. And that there's just a lot that could take you away from being present in a moment. But everything that you shared there, from talking with a kindergartner who's walking in to listening to your staff, is really about being intentional. I'm hearing that theme, at least, about being present in every moment. And that's really commendable, and a good thing to think about too on a Friday. So Julie, would you have a leadership message to kind of impart to us here as we near the end of our segment?
Sure. So I'm not a building leader, but I do sit on the SEED team, which we are leading the efforts in educator effectiveness in our state. And for those of you who don't follow that work, SEED stands for Supporting Educator Effectiveness Through Development. It's a team led by Kim Snyder, and we also work with Ryan Rickenbaugh. He really handles kind of the principal leadership and the Nebraska Leadership and Learning Network side of the house. And I'm really on the team to help with the teacher supports and really kind of bring that rural voice to the team. So we have been working really diligently on a lot of communication pieces. And if you follow our state board and our state department, you know that they have kind of pumped the brakes and slowed some of the work down. That was kind of scheduled to happen this fall, which has given us this really grateful time to slow down and really be precise and really work on our communication. We have a new FAQ document that's coming out soon. We've occasionally we get invited to talk to groups of superintendents and principals, and so we're always happy to do that. We're super excited because we are coming November 2nd to work with some of our EUSU colleagues to really kind of build out where we're at with SEED, and this idea of having an educator effectiveness lens. So how do we understand our whole teachers and our whole principals and our, the educator as a whole, knowing that I guess one of the silver linings of this pandemic era in education is knowing we have to take care of people, because healthy people take healthy care of our kids. So just really that leadership state level of communication is where I've been working pretty diligently this last month with the SEED team to get some things ready to launch so that we can keep that work going. So it's always a treat to get to see both sides of that, because I still get to do, part of my contract is still out here with Casey and all the good people in the Panhandle in our 21 schools doing staff development. And then I get to see that window into the state level work with the SEED team as well. So working a lot on communication because it's important.
Oh, no question about that. And that has been something that's been fun to kind of follow your journey through all that. And we've done a couple of podcasts, I know, too, covering some of that SEED team work if people are interested in learning a little bit more about it. I've had some more comments roll in here, too, on our socials. And so, Jen, checking out on Twitter, actually, an article that you maybe shared, Casey, about positive behavior. Casey, do you remember reading through that? Would you want to speak to that real quick?
Sure. So part of our school-wide Tier 1 PBIS is students can earn red tickets for doing great things, displaying positive behavior in school. So I have them in a tub, and I draw 4 names out. And our theme this year is actually a jungle theme. So we have jungle theme throughout the school. So one of it is, wild about positive behavior. And so when I picked these kids, I got some trinkets and cool stuff down here that they can pick from, and after that I take a picture of them, and then I put it on our elementary Facebook page, and then I send tweets out and tag our Twitter handle to that too. So just a good way of recognizing kids that are doing things right, and that's, I think, a mind shift, because sometimes you're worrying about the ones that are bad all the time, but you have so many more that are doing right things, so you have to be intentional. There's your word, Andrew. Intentional about telling others about the good things that they're doing, and that, I think, falls in line with, I love public schools and Nebraska loves public schools and Build a Love Fridays. It's being intentional with showing the good things that are happening. So that's what we do here. It's pretty cool. It's fun.
I love that you made that connection too, because as you were talking, that's right where my mind went, and it is why I love learning from and working in collaboration with iHeart Public Schools when we get a chance to do that. It is Feel Love Friday, so you can tell we got those shirts rocking. Yep, there you go, and there you go, a little Mustang pride too, which is always good. And our heart is in that same place, as the ESU network and the ESUCC too. Is that if we want to be invested in telling the positive stories and understand there's great work that is going on right now, and this Friday opportunity for us to have great guests like Casey and Julie here to showcase some of that. I'm just really grateful for it. So thank you both for your continued leadership and education, for your time sharing out about that today, and really just for the passion, and we'll get back to it, word of the day, intentionality, that you pursue making a difference on behalf of kids. And so just really grateful for all that. So that being said, we'll be back next Friday. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we have another ESU 13 administrator who will be joining us at that time. And so look for that to come out on socials this week. So we'll just kind of leave that as a cliffhanger. But again, thanks to both of you, and we will see you next Friday. Hope everyone has a great weekend.
Thanks,
Brad.